Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon, and today we're talking about boat gear, what you have to have on the boat, what you should probably have on the boat, and some things you may want to have on the boat just because they're so dang fun. So let's start with the must-have. So this is United States, U.S. Coast Guard requirements for boats 16 feet and over. If you're in a different country, they're going to be similar, but make sure you check out your requirements. The U.S. Coast Guard throw cushion. This is a throwable device. If somebody goes overboard, you have something to throw to them so they can get back to the boat safely. Some people will even tie a rope down to one of the handles so it can trail and be easier for people to grab. A U.S. Coast Guard approved life vest. So this is a PFD, a personal flotation device that will keep you up if you fall in the water. Now, you've got to make sure that it fits the people on board. Everybody on board must have one, and if you're 12 and under, you must wear it when the boat is underway in most states. A fire extinguisher. Now, this fire extinguisher must be a marine-grade fire extinguisher, and it must be fully charged, which means in the green section. So it's important to check these yearly because they do go bad over time. A sound-making device. Now, you have a horn, but I'm going to recommend spend $7 to $10 and get yourself a whistle. A whistle never goes bad. You can always find it in the glove box, and you'll be covered. And just in case you need it, you got it. Next, if you're boating in the evening, are your anchor and navigation lights. The red, green lights and the white all-around 360 light are required when you're boating from dusk till dawn. And I believe it's even an hour before dusk and an hour after dawn. The kill switch. If you're boating on any federal waterways in the U.S., you must have a kill switch, and it must be worn while the boat is underway. I recommend you clip it to your life vest or your shorts. Don't put it around your wrist. It's going to get in the way. It's going to cause problems, and clip it on your shorts or your life vest if you're wearing one. Flares. If you're boating at the coast, it's a requirement if you're boating offshore, but it's something that if you're boating at the coast or a large body of water like the Great Lakes, may be beneficial to have flares and may be required depending on where you are. They can be the stick kind, they can be the fire out of the gun kind, they can be the electronic kind, which are now covered under the U.S. Coast Guard regs. Next, we have things that I'm going to recommend. They're not U.S. Coast Guard required, but I'm going to say if you've got a boat, have these on board. The first is a VHF radio. If you get in an emergency situation, you can use your VHF. It's a line of sight communication, so it doesn't have a tremendously long range, but it can get you to the Coast Guard. It can get you to a Good Samaritan boater. It can get you to commercial vessels. The only time you don't really need one is if you're boating on a small lake, and they just aren't common. But usually even marinas on medium-sized lakes are going to monitor a VHF channel 16, which is the emergency channel. Next is a safety first aid kit. Have the things that you'll need in case somebody cuts a finger or something bad happens, some aspirin, some gauze, some wrap. Good chance that at some point you'll need something, and it's best just to have that on board and make sure you refresh that every year. I recommend a multi-tool at a minimum. If you need to tighten a nut, if you need to cut something, if you need to tighten a screw, if you need to file something down, they can do about everything. And if you need to crack open a cold one, you can get that done too. And then binoculars. Again, if you're boating at the coast in an emergency situation, having binoculars can be very, very, very handy to see if somebody's coming to help if you do have an emergency situation. Next is an anchor. Not required, but I'm going to say have an anchor on your boat. And here's why. If you break down, if something bad happens, you run out of gas, first thing you want to do is you want to make sure the boat and your passengers are safe. Throw the anchor out. It will buy you time from smashing into the rocks. It'll buy you time from running into other boaters or to getting into a dangerous situation. Get that anchor out, get your boat secured, and you'll be okay. And by the way, it's pretty darn fun to just sit at anchor, float, and have fun when things are going real well. You've got the Danforth, which is the most common kind. Right here, you got the flukes that dig in, 5 foot or so section of chain for most boats, 100 foot of anchor line, and you're all set. You can also use the Navy anchor, which will dig in. This is a nice anchor setup if you don't have a huge storage locker for the Danforth. Again, 5 foot of chain, 100 foot of anchor line, or however deep your water is. You're going to do 5 to 7 times the depth in bad conditions. You can go up to 3 times the depth of the water if it's really nice and calm. Then you've got your Delta anchor, your mushroom anchor, and your river anchors. These are going to be good if you're going to dig into some rocks or something, the river anchor. And then the box anchor. The box anchor is the only one that you don't need a chain on. And the box anchor from what I'm told, I haven't tested it yet, but I will be doing it this year, is a great option to dig in. You don't need the chain. You don't need as much anchor rode out, and it will hold in almost all conditions, including grassy bottoms, which can be very difficult. Next, fenders. Listen, you spent good money on a boat. Get fenders to protect it when you tie it up to the dock or other boats. I prefer the polyform, and the reason I like them is because they're a nice soft rubber, and they are going to be a little gentler and easier to use. Some of the cheaper ones are like a really hard plastic, and I don't like that feel, and I don't like the way it rubs up on the boat. The G1, G2, G3s are these right here, where you've got the ties on both ends, and then the HTM3 are the hole through the middle. You run the line all the way down, you tie a big knot down at the bottom, and they're usually larger for larger boats, cruisers, but the G3s are usually a pretty good size for most pleasure boats, 20 to 28 feet or so. They also have different styles. Get the one that suits you, your style of boat, but these polyform are good in most situations. Dock lines. You gotta have dock lines on your boat. I don't care if you're a trailer boater and you almost never tie up. When you come into the boat ramp, maybe you have to tie up at that transient dock or at the boat ramp dock itself. Maybe you get in a difficult situation, you have to tie up to just a dock to secure your boat. Have dock lines on board. They come in these sizes, in these lengths. You've got double braided nylon or 3-strand nylon. Either one work. I like the double braided. You can get the color to match your boat. And they're going to work in every situation that you need. The 3-strand, they come in white, maybe black, but those are adequate as well. You just can't color match, which is kind of nice to do. What size do you need? Well, for the thickness of the line, about 1/8 per 8 feet of boat length. So if you've got a 20-foot boat, you can probably get by with a 1/4-inch dock line. 3/8 would be best. If you've got a 38-foot boat, you probably move up to the 1/2-inch dock line. Just make sure that it's going to fit through the eye of your cleats on your boat. Some of these pontoons, some of these bow riders have a pretty small cleat, and you don't want to have too small a line, but you do need to make sure it fits through there easily. What about the length? Well, the rule of thumb is to have 2 bow lines, 2 stern lines that are about 2/3 the length of the boat. So if you've got a 20-foot boat, 15-foot line will do you. If you got a 25-foot boat, 15-foot line will probably do you on those 4. And then your spring lines you want to be the length of the boat. So I would have 2 on there. If I've got a 25-footer, I would have 2 25-foot lines, because some docking situations are going to require a spring line. Some docking situations, I was in one the other day. The cleats on the dock were all broke off, and I had to kind of rig it up to make sure the boat was secure and not scraping anything. And having a couple of long dock lines made it easy. Even my full length lines weren't quite enough, and I had to tie a couple together. So in those situations, the 10% of the time, you'll be glad you have them, and the extra rope you can always coil up and make it look nice. Do a little Flemish like you see here. Next, now we're starting to get to the fun stuff, right? The towables. If you've got kids, if you've got some adventurous people, you can get more aggressive, like the Stars and Stripes tube. The belly tubes is what I call them. My girls are a little less adventurous and pretty risk averse. They like the Super Mabel. It's nice and big. It's comfortable. It's secure. You really got to work to flip them over. You can go with the hot dog or something that's a little bit more fun if you've got younger kids. The Zup board, a great kind of introduction to skiing and wakeboarding and kneeboarding. You can do it all on that, including just laying on your stomach and get your kids comfortable out there. Great for little ones, great for learners. And then make sure you get the appropriate tow rope, whether it's a towable. And if you find that your line gets caught in the wash of your wake, these booster balls will allow it to get up out of that, and will also allow you to wing them around a little bit more if you want to get more aggressive. Cleaning supplies. I did a whole video on what not to use on your boat for cleaning supplies. Make sure you don't use anything with alcohol in it that's cleaning your boat. It's upholstery. Make sure you don't use any stiff bristle brushes on the upholstery. You want to use soft bristle brushes to scrub. Avoid the magic erasers, except for on the hardest type of stains, and avoid those on the threads as well. So a couple of things. The hot sauce, the boat juice guys, they have a great product. McGuire's, I like their wax. They do a great job with the wax. Starbrights, they've got good hull cleaners and deck cleaners, a nice mild soap. You don't want to use Dawn. It's going to strip off the wax on your gel coat. A lot of people use that, and it's great to get grease off, but it's also going to strip the wax. So only use that if you're going to be buffing and re-waxing your boat. So don't use it every time. Then a little bit more fun, the lily pad mat. My girls, one of their favorite things on the water. They can be big and cumbersome to roll up, but they are a lot of fun. And then the lily pad diving board. I did a video on these that you can check out on the channel. A blast. They can mount. You need a small surface area. They mount real easy on pontoons. You can round them on bigger deck boats. I talk about it in the video what size space you need, and I interview the guy from Lilypad, a great family-owned company that boaters created it, and it's they do a great job engineering and building a great product. Next, if you want to increase your education, the Chapman Plotting Book and the Boating Skills and Seamanship by the Coast Guard Auxiliary are great resources to have. You can get them, I think they're like $40-50 online. And if you like to read, they're a great option to learn more about knots and navigation and rules of the road, things like that. If you prefer video, I have some courses that you may want to check out. The Best Boat Captain on the Water is all about how to handle your boat properly, have total control of your boat around the docks, how to tie it up, basics of navigation. We've got Trailer Like a Pro, Tow Water Sports with Confidence, the Confident Coastal Boater, all about boating at the coast. And then a free program. If you're a newer boater, get the Boater Bootcamp. It's totally free, 100% free. Boaterbootcamp.com. It goes through the things you just don't know about boating and your boat. It's going to avoid some major headaches, costly mistakes, and keep you and your family safe out on the water. So check those out. Remember, life truly is better on a boat. Give this a thumbs up. Give it a share if you found this information valuable. You got the Boater Bootcamp, the Best Boat Captain on the Water, Trailer Like a Pro, Confident Coastal Boater,